If I had the courage, if I could just sit and make something, I would share a piece of me with you. I would remind you that you are perfect, absolutely essential, and capable of anything. I would cut a small piece of linen, cinnamon-colored linen, the size of a bookmark, and I would get to know you, your strengths and your fears, your gifts and your battles. And I would design a sigil just for you, to remind you that you never have to be alone. I would use my whole mind and my whole heart to provide you this gift. And if you drew strength from it, that circuit would be complete. I would pull colors from you. I would pull shapes from you. I would endeavor to peel stories from you. I would punch stitches through the fabric of time, thinking of you. That is, if you let me. I would love each of you to leave today with a linen shield, my art as gift. Each imperfect knot on the back you could tinker with, a reminder that one thread ended and another began. It will get worn and sweaty over the years. The edges will fray, but that linen will persist, and so will this wish. I choose embroidery. There are other things I use, but I love embroidery for the slowness. The materials are so soft, so agile, so powerful. I have time for big thoughts between stitches. There is intention, there is humility, and there is blood. I move carefully where the wind won't blow. I can't do this on my own. A poem. They've been burning witches and artists and scientists since as far back as we've had cord and flame. We manifest, and we are dangerous. My husband wrote that. I am madly in love with this man. He is the wind. He is fast. He is chaos. He doesn't mean to scatter your manuscript or mess your hair or get dust in your eye makeup. He delights in your words, and he loves that you let your locks grow long. My husband is madness. His gift, he is madly in love with everything. He is the push. He is fearless. I don't push. I am shy and full of caution. We run a public art space in the heart of downtown. Everyone is welcome. Artists can thrive, children run around, and the lost and disenfranchised can come in, get warm, and be fed. It's expensive, so Rich sells paintings. His speed allows me my calm. He makes and sells so much. He is the brute force that feeds our Rumble House. He never sits, so we can. He is my advocate. He is many, many people's advocate, and I am his. This is a story of many different colored threads. We get wrapped in wild and unruly knots, and we find ourselves inextricably bound to the most unlikely conspirators. We teach in the day. My husband and I drive to work together. One car. We're supposed to be getting ready, and I find him piled up under blankets, writing poetry. He should be getting ready. We're going to be late, but sometimes I find him writing his way out of paralysis, bogged down by the Welshmerts. He writes as many poems as he loses, because to him, it's not the paper that matters, it's the writing. It's the rewiring of that moment. It's his ignition. I'm an archivist. I keep them all. I love reading them. I'm afraid to lose them, afraid to lose the feelings of those moments, the lessons. I carefully put them together in a book, and our publisher put them on shelves. We use those poems every day. We use them to eat dinner. He used them in his book, and I used a few here. It's our mythology. Rich wrote a book. It only took him 2 weeks to write it, but it took him over 2 months to record it. I had never heard him read out loud before. I had never seen someone work so hard. Felix, who's 10, had the entire thing memorized by just being near and listening while we recorded the audiobook. I didn't struggle reading the book. I did a few voices, and I narrated the poems, and this one, Rich said, "Can you sing this one?" And I said, "It's a poem, it doesn't have a song." And he said, na 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 na. And I opened my mouth, and a song came out. It was as if we both remembered it. For ages, I watched the tigers in their cages, and I crept in the pitch of night while the keeper slept and unlocked the gates. Some ran, some stayed. I hoped some would love me. I knew some would hate me. The truly bitter lingered, and then they ate me. Teaching is rewarding, but it is difficult. We have to reinvent ourselves every day, and the days are long. Sometimes, while driving to pick me up, Rich might get lost. A sudden shift in weather or a change in light might send him driving in circles, trying to find his way. I never have to explain to the counselors at school why I'm waiting. He's embarrassed when he shows up. I am never embarrassed of him. He writes, "I'd have dismantled myself 1,000 different ways by now if it wasn't for you. I like the way I look in the tiny black reflections of your big cow eyes." But every day, he thinks up a thing that no one has ever thought of. He makes some things out of nothings. He's an alchemist and a tinkerer. Once, a long time ago, he invented our gorilla house. It lasted 1.5 years. We tidied up the block, cleaned up the building, and were gentrified. Some of us were pretty low down about being gentrified. So we wondered, what if bringing back blocks was our business? We took a new space. We called it Rumble House. There is no place like it. We host weekly events. We keep it free for over 519 weeks in a row. Everyone is welcome. And with everyone welcome, we need to make sure everyone feels safe. That heat usually falls on Rich. Outnumbered 5-1, he might need to ask some hooligans to go home. Just Rich. No security. No billy clubs. Just his voice. He can't do this on his own. We build a critical mass of love. It's just one of the many things we've learned. Building a community on a shoestring. Building everything out of shoestrings is how we became such fantastic weavers. Another superpower? One question that can turn anyone around. What do you need? Sometimes inclusion means someone needs to go home for a nap. Inclusion is uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, you aren't being truly inclusive. Sometimes you're just a new kind of exclusive. Here's a poem. Our struggle is our capital. No one said it would be easy. Stay feral as long as you can. Memorize those broken moments. Salivate. Get up. Shove against something that leaves your heart pumping. Beat loud on that bloody drum. Wednesdays, we beat that drum. We spin a wheel, get 3 random ideas, make art for 2 hours, and auction the work off at 9. From the outside, it might look the same week after week, but we've had to reinvent ourselves almost 500 times in a row. Painters, fiber artists, illustrators, all voices mingle in this tapestry, stitched together with compassion, empathy, and hope. These are the threads of our community. No applications, no deadlines, no submissions. We build a community by connecting people. We have a reach that has traveled across the world. If we were submissive, how could we stay feral? Our autonomy is absolutely essential to our survival, to our ability to adjust, to our authenticity, to our connection to our community and to this land. We shift when it rains, and we flex when the wind blows. Our board of directors have put a lot of faith in us. Our neighbors have put a lot of faith in us. Our benefactors believe in us because we have built the trust that we put the needs of the community first. If someone needs a bike, we ask for a bike. If someone finds keys, they drop them off at the door. Over 500 weeks in a row of turning absolutely nothing into something special. Our Rumble House is a one-eyed crone, a grandmother, and we are her teeth. And if I'm a tooth, our friends are the limbs, the stomach, the liver, the hip bone. She may have shaggy clothes, but she has a heart of gold. We wrote a manifesto to keep us on point. The moment of art making supersedes the residue of the work itself. We bring artists together with people who may have never made art before. There is a connection made, a circuit, a flow. At its best, art connects artist and viewer. Through interaction, rather than meeting a painting, which is residue, you are met with a unique individual in a vulnerable moment. We consider the viewer part of the art itself. Anyone you've ever met has helped shape you and your work. An inclusionist must be open to new kinds of art making. New material is uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable. Find people who make you uncomfortable. Anything you've ever created in this world, you are responsible for how it's interpreted. Lean into this. Take care of one another. Inclusionists must be open to new forms of art. Burdened by the spectacle of the past, you cannot move forward. Do not limit yourself. Being open, being uncomfortable, and adapting to your context ignites development. Be a considerate listener. Listen to as much as you can, to voices you love and loathe, to messages you trust and don't. And amongst all that noise, remember your own voice. Avoid appropriation of voice. No one speaks for the dead. Be leery of those stories you pass on. Avoid gossip. And remember, your art is absolutely priceless. Anything anyone offers you is chump change. When you remember, your value is in the magic of your eyes. Your magic is in your mind and your heart and your hands. We cannot do this alone. Stoke your flame. Your heart is an inferno. Let it rage. Light the way. Thank you.